Any sales page is mostly text, and yet typography is brutally neglected, resulting in an unnecessary barrier between your message and its audience. So, how can you level up the design of your landing page with the help of typography? In this video, I'll review an actual site, redesign it, and give concrete advice that you can use for the design of your sales page, letting you firsthand experience the influence of pimping your type. I'm Oliver, your guide to the world of typography, and this is relevant to anyone who has influence over the visual appearance of a landing page, because you want content and design to go hand in hand, which also means that you should have a solid structure and well thought out text before thinking about the design. And Jonathan Stark, who submitted his website for typographic review, certainly does. No wonder he also teaches you how to create and structure the text of an ideal landing page. And I will link to a Sales Page 101 podcast episode below. Now back to Jonathan's side. Even though his message is precise and clear when it comes to the visual appearance, there's still some, let's say, unused potential. So let's take a closer look at it and distill a few actionable tips from my assessment. First of all, the flashy top banner is very distracting from the page content. Decide what's the most important element in the top section of your page and then design everything towards that. Don't distract from it. Also, a lot of different elements are grouped very tightly together. You have the H1 followed by another heading, some skewed, artificially italicized text. I can't look at that. No, let's address that right away and use the actual italics of Merriweather here. Whew, this is so much better and more elegant, isn't it? And then you have the sign-up form. All these elements compete against each other, followed by bold body text and an unordered list where your eyes finally can relax. What already looks messy on desktop here is even worse on mobile, because there is much tighter space, making it even harder to focus. You should strive to use as little different elements as possible. Moving on, you see that hierarchies are not always that clear. Is this body text or is it a heading? Try to make different things clearly look different. The testimonials work well, but the various sections blend together a lot. Now, when it comes to the font choice, Jonathan uses Merriweather, as already mentioned before. Not the most unique or original type choice, but very solid and readable, performing well in body text. The downside is that he uses Merriweather for everything, which also gives the site a somehow standard look. So let's see how to apply these 4 tips to the design of Jonathan's site with an additional bonus tip at the end. But first, let's refine the basic design, because I don't want to get rid of the overall feeling of the site here, just make it a bit better based on what's already there. Since Merriweather works well for copy, let's keep it, but pair it with a second typeface for headings. I picked Plus Jakarta Sans, a clean, geometric, linear sans serif typeface with some interesting touches that is so different that it doesn't get in the way of traditional Merriweather. I also reviewed it in my weekly Font Friday newsletter. Find the link and sign up for it below. As you can see, pairing these 2 typefaces already has a lot of impact on the overall visual impression of the site. It makes the hierarchies already a bit clearer, because now they are more differentiated, while giving the page a more nuanced look. Now let's apply the font choice to the other text and reducing the line height of the level 3 headings so that they are more compact. With these basics in place, time to put the first of our 4 guidelines into practice. Most relevant here in the top section of the site is the form, which is also the call to action. Right now, everything is competing with the flashy banner as you saw, so let's tone it down by desaturating it and removing the shadow. Let's make the title more dominant by increasing the size, but also reducing the weight to light, so it won't feel that dull, compensating this a bit. We also have an issue with the subtitle and the italic text below. It's just too many different elements in too little space. Maybe the subtitle doesn't have to be a heading, and we could reuse the body text here. And the italic text, which actually nowhere on the page can be found again, could be a great opener for that subtitle, only set in bold. Coming to the important form, the label could be bigger so that it will introduce the CTA more prominently. I'll reuse the style for the headings. Let's also increase the border radius of the input and button so it better aligns with the geometric shapes of the heading font and make both elements more compact while giving them the same height. Finally, if we double the space between our elements, everything has a bit more space to breathe, which gives the visitor also more room to focus. Now, comparing this to the original design, the redesign of the top section is way more streamlined. To see guideline number 3 in action, we have to scroll down a bit. But before that, if you enjoyed this video so far, hit the like button and share it with a friend. Thank you. Even though the headings and body text are less similar now thanks to the different typefaces, the bold copy still could be mistaken for a heading in the middle of the section. And this is bad because when headings stand out less, it hinders readers to easily skim the page and find what they are looking for. There are 2 approaches to solve that. First one would be by formatting it differently. We could always combine the bold text with a paragraph so that we do not have a single bold line. Or consistently use the H3 style instead of the single bold line. But still, it's not as clear as it could be. And this is because of the spacing. By adding double the space before a heading, things are more clearly grouped, which emphasizes hierarchy. It's just clearer that these things now belong together. This plays into hierarchies and grouping as well. We already solved that quite a bit by adding more space between sections, and there are lines that additionally separate them. However, maybe we could do it a bit more interestingly. I'll use a subtle gradient, sometimes with a pointy shape separator that additionally draws the eye. Now the top section stands out even more, giving you clues to continue, and the form in the middle is also more highlighted, bringing us to the bonus tip. Looking at the form with the rounded corners, it makes sense to reuse this style also in the testimonial section, so it will better fit to the overall aesthetics of the site. Also, a less contrasting background taken from the middle of the gradient and plus Jakarta stands for the names will tie it closer to the rest of the site. The original design was not horrible at all, but it wasn't ideal either. Now with these changes that mostly circle around purposefully using typography and spacing, it makes a tremendous difference, leaving a more nuanced and sophisticated impression of Jonathan's site that clearly guides visitors by perfectly marrying content and shape. Visual hierarchy is essential when it comes to typography. Learn more about it in this video right here. If you need help for your own site, consider a coaching call or subscribe to my Font Friday newsletter, both linked below. But now let's see each other in this next video.